Living with Lolita, grab a notebook and a pen. It's not about where you start, but how you win. There is no topic that can't be discussed. This platform is open, no need to hush.
Hey y'all, it's your girl Lolita and welcome to another episode of Living with Lolita. Today I want to discuss a topic that I feel is unfortunately common in children, women, and even men. Some people call it rape, some people call it sexual assault, some people say they were taken advantage of. For me, I just personally think that that's all in the same arena. So what I would like to do today is actually walk you through a couple of instances that have happened in my life, and now that I've been able to reflect on things, I do in fact know that it is okay to speak up regardless of the situation. So the very first instance that happened had to be between 18 and 20. There were a group of guys who I knew. I was friendly with. We hung out, we talked all the time. But this one particular night, we actually were drinking and I got really drunk. Like super drunk, to the point where I couldn't even remember really what happened, or I didn't have strength to probably walk up a step. But I ended up in his room, and I remember laying on his bed and him being on top of me, trying to have sex with me. And I would say like, no, and the push wasn't really even a push. I probably couldn't hurt a fly at that point in time because I was just that intoxicated to the point where I didn't even have energy. I didn't even have strength. But then I also remember that there was a friend there, and it was somebody who I also knew, and he ended up joining in at some point. So the next day, that's when everything came back to me. And I was like, oh my gosh. But I was at this point where I'm like, who can I tell? Who's going to believe me? I don't want to get them in trouble, because at that point in time, they were Marines, and I didn't want to ruin their careers. I didn't know if people were going to believe me. So I just didn't say anything. So maybe about a week or two later, I went to visit my family. And while we were there, while me and my family were visiting my extended family, my girlfriend called me. And she told me that her boyfriend, who was actually the guy who joined in, he called her to tell her that I tried to push myself on him. And I was like, well, no, that's not what happened. Like, I would never do that. But for whatever reason, I could not tell her the truth. I couldn't say, hey, that's not what happened. This is what happened. Because I felt like, number one, she was not going to believe me. I just feel like she liked him so much that regardless of what I said, even if it was the truth, she was not going to believe me. I also felt like, it was his word against mine. Whose is, like, which one is she going to take? So I just didn't say anything. I'm not sure if she blamed me for that. I wasn't going to talk to her about it afterwards, because I just knew that I wasn't going to say anything. So I did distance myself for a while from the guy group or whatever. I couldn't really be around them like that. I just felt like everybody was kind of going on with their life, and I was stuck to try to figure this thing out, because I knew what happened. And maybe they thought that I was so drunk that I just forgot what happened, or I didn't know what happened. I know what happened. I just didn't say anything. And I kick myself in the butt about that all the time. Why didn't I say something? Why did I try to protect them? Or why didn't I say something to her? Why didn't I even go to my family? Because it's not like they were going to fault me, I feel like if I would have went to them, then maybe we could have, came up with some solution. But I just didn't say anything. The next instance was the majority of people know that I've been married, and I got married in 2006. In 2008, my mom actually passed away, and I lived in Georgia at the time. And I remember me and my husband and my kids, we had to drive back to North Carolina. So we were staying in a hotel for a couple days. The second day that I was there, that we were there, we were laying in the bed, and I remember I was just so miserable because, mind you, my mom had just passed away maybe a day or two before. And my husband wanted to have sex. I did not want to have sex. That was so far out off my radar. Like, I just did not want to do it. But he just kept, pushing me and pushing me and pushing me. And I'm like, no, I don't want to do it. I don't want, leave me alone. And I remember him being behind me and literally holding me, and he just took it. He just took it. And then I just laid there. I just laid there like a bump on a log, like stiff. And then when he was done, he kissed me on my cheek and he said, thank you. And he went to sleep. And I'm laying there thinking, did this just happen? Did this really just happen? So a couple of days went by, when we had my mom's wake and the funeral and, the repast and everything. And I remember not wanting anything to do with him. I did not want him to touch me. If I was, crying, I didn't want him to console me. I just literally lost all respect. I lost all respect because at that point in time, I feel like you wanted to have sex so bad. You wanted intimacy so bad that you would take it at a time where I was so vulnerable and I was weak and I was I just couldn't think straight. I just don't understand how someone could do that. Someone who's supposed to be the provider, someone who's supposed to be the protector, someone who's supposed to make me feel secure. You're treating me at this point in time, I feel like a piece of meat. So fast forward a couple more times throughout our marriage, that happened to where he would make me do it. And once again, I kind of fought myself just a little bit because I still stayed in that. I didn't tell nobody. But I feel like I was harboring almost like a hatred at some point toward him because of that very first instance. Because I needed him, and not in that way, but I needed him emotionally and mentally. I needed him physically, but just put your arms around me, hug me, tell me everything is going to be okay. At this point, I don't even like you. So there was another instance where we got in an argument, and I remember we were laying in the bed, and I'm not going to lie, y'all. I can get petty sometimes, petty to the point of, if you make me mad, I will double knot my pants and then I'll go to sleep, but he literally, I remember he ripped my pants one night, and took it. And when I say take it, I mean we're fighting, we're tussling in this bed, and he's literally have my arms like this above my head, and he's holding it with one hand just so he can have sex. And then it's I don't know, I feel why did I even stand for that? This is the type of stuff that makes people sometimes wait for you to go to sleep and beat you with a metal bat, because once again, I feel like you're just taking something because I don't know if you feel you pay bills, or because you are providing for the household, or because you're a man and when you say that you want sex, I'm supposed to give it to you. I agree with that, but under certain circumstances, but not even that. So the very last time, which was the last straw, I was leaving at this point. I was leaving in a week, and I was waiting for my house to come available. So I was sleeping downstairs and he was sleeping upstairs. So one night I remember him walking down the stairs, and I jumped up all of a sudden out of the bed, and I went to the bedroom door and I just held onto the lock. And he came to the room and tried to jiggle the handle and noticed that it was locked. So I could hear him going into the kitchen, and he either got a knife or maybe a screwdriver, something to where he can, open up the door. And I just stood there holding on to the lock. And he tried for a little bit, and then he got frustrated and went upstairs. And then when he went upstairs, I finally eased back into the bed. But that's scary. And it's violating. I don't think that even if you're a husband and wife, that if the wife says no, they don't want to do something, that you should make them do it, and vice versa. I don't think that I'm literally 1 week from moving out of the house, and for whatever reason, you still feel like, oh, I'm just going to take this from her. I'm really speechless even saying this out loud, because I just don't know if that's an illness. I don't know if that's a sickness. I don't know what that is. All I know is that that shouldn't be happening. That definitely should not be happening in any relationship. So those things I've had to endure and deal with. And so now what I do is I have an open conversation with my kids, especially my younger ones, because, we're all going through a situation right now, and I need to make sure that they're okay. I want to make sure that they know that this is an open door when it comes to speaking with their mother. I try to talk to them about stuff now that I'm sure makes them feel so uncomfortable, but I'm doing it for a purpose, and when they have children, I want them to do the same thing with theirs. Like I said before, my mom and my dad were great. I feel like I could have at least spoken to my mom about this type of stuff, because, you kind of don't want to, well, I know for me, I don't want to be talking to my dad about sex. It's a bit uncomfortable, but with my mom, I feel like I should have said something, but I want my kids to feel that type of comfortability. I want them to be just so free and open with, things that they say to me, because what I wouldn't want is for something to happen to them and they carry it on for years or months, or, they let it fester up inside, and then they're walking around so angry and retaliate. I wouldn't want that for my kids. I don't want that for my friends. I don't want that for people that are in my life, So I do think that it is very important for us to discuss this type of thing, whether, like I said, it's sexual assault, whether it's rape, whether you feel like you've been taken advantage of. Say something. I see this stuff on the news sometimes with people who come out years later, and I can't say that everybody is telling the truth. I honestly can't, but I can almost understand why people don't say something sooner. I'm not judging those people, but I know other people are like, well, why didn't she say something sooner? She should have said this. She had this opportunity. Yeah, we have opportunities, but for whatever reason, we don't take them. And like I said, it could be a multitude of things, but we don't feel comfortable for some reason not speaking out loud. I just wanted to just make sure that, for the most part, we just get through to our children. We get through to our children, and we make them feel like you are not to blame. I'm going to believe you. Say whatever it is that is on your heart. Say whatever it is that is on your mind. Say whatever it is that is irritating you inside, that is making you feel angry, that is making you feel hurt, that is making you feel ashamed. Because this type of thing does make you feel ashamed at times, I felt ashamed for a very long time. And even in my marriage, I didn't tell people what was going on because everybody was like, oh, Lolita has this big house and she has the cars and the children and she gets whatever she wants. And I mean, people from the outside looking in could see that. But inside of that house, I was dying, like dying. And that did play a major part. Being taken advantage of played a major part. I don't think that I should have been made to cook, clean, and just have sex whenever you feel like you want it, you know? I don't feel like somebody should snap their fingers and I'm just supposed to drop my panties. You know, it's not that easy sometimes, you know? It's not that easy when somebody is not respecting you in a way. I had my reasons for not doing certain things. And I'll get into those, you know, later, but I had my reasons for not doing certain things. And for you to just take it, and even when I'm 2 feet out the door, you still feel like you have that right, that's a problem. That's a definite problem. So I just wanted to clear the air. I just wanted to, like I said, open up this floor, give you all just something to think about. Regardless of the situations that you've been in, whether it is, or relationships that you've been in, whether it's girlfriend, boyfriend, whether you're just friends, whether it's, you know, husband and wife, it's all the same. If you say no, then that's just what it means. I know some people may think, oh, you know, you say no, whatever, it's like you're joking. You can tell if somebody is joking, and you can tell when somebody is serious. And, I don't think that every no needs to be, oh, well, she's just joking, or she doesn't mean that, or, you know, once I start, then she'll get into it, or I just feel like in my case, sometimes it was like that. It was. And I'm free from that now. And I just want to make sure that if anybody else is bound by that, that they can also be free. Yeah, it's important, and it is okay. It is okay to speak up. I just want you to know that. It's okay. It's okay to make sure that your voice is heard. It is okay for you to not blame yourself for things that happen, no matter how you are as a person. Because I'm going to tell you this, another reason why I didn't say something when I was younger is because I wasn't a virgin. I wasn't. But I didn't want to have sex like that. I didn't want to do that. I didn't want people to take advantage of me, you know. But once again, it was something like, okay, I'm going to tell someone, and then they're going to be like, okay, well, I mean, because she's like this anyway. No. That doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It doesn't. And I feel like sometimes, like I said, like that's why people don't say certain things, because people have this perception of them already. So those are a couple of instances that have happened in my life. I hope I was able to help somebody today. I hope that I was able to shed a little light, open some eyes, and I hope that we can carry this conversation and people don't feel like they have to keep it in forever. Thank you for living with Lolita. I appreciate y'all tuning in, for viewing, for supporting, for subscribing. Until next time, I will see you in about 2 weeks. You don't want to miss it. Bye.
Her experience has created a safe place. One time with living with Lolita is all it will take. One time with living with Lolita is all it will take. Living with Lolita, living with Lolita. Living with Lolita is all it will take.